Welcome to the deep dive. You know, in warfare, there's always been a game-changer weapon. The sword, the gun, the bomb. Each one really shifted things. But today, well, the weapon's making the biggest waves, you might say. They don't fire bullets. You won't hear them coming. They're silent, invisible, and often perfectly legal, which is kind of strange. So our mission here is to unpack these invisible attacks. What do they look like? How do they work? And, well, why are they such a unique, almost insidious threat now in the 21st century? And this isn't just some abstract idea, right? Imagine, like, the first sign something's wrong is your phone battery just draining way too fast. Or, you know, sophisticated hacks emptying crypto wallets literally overnight. Or maybe an entire city's power grid just blinks out. No missiles, nothing.
Right. It's a fundamental shift.
It really is.
Yeah.
We're talking about wars fought without armies needing to cross borders, attackers causing massive damage from a desk somewhere, and completely unseen.
Yeah, and what's really striking is how the definition of warfare itself is morphing. If you think bigger picture, it means the battlefield isn't some far-off place anymore.
Right.
It's everywhere. It's your phone, your laptop.
Your city's infrastructure.
Exactly. Water, power, transport, even potentially the air we breathe when you get into some of the more advanced concepts. So we'll be digging into cyber attacks, obviously, but also things like electromagnetic and sonic warfare, and even bio and nano attacks.
And the ethical questions around these, they're huge. How do you even protect yourself?
It's a massive challenge.
Okay, so let's start with maybe the most familiar one, cyber attacks. When we talk about this kind of silent digital destruction, is there a key historical example that really shows their power?
I think Stuxnet is probably the classic case around 2010. And the crucial thing wasn't just that it hit Iranian nuclear facilities, though that was obviously significant. It was how it did it.
Right.
It didn't blow anything up, not directly. Instead, it got into the control systems, the PLC.
The programmable logic controllers.
Exactly. The controllers for the centrifuges. And it subtly messed with their speeds, sped them up, slowed them down, over and over.
Until they basically just tore themselves apart.
Precisely. They vibrated themselves to failure. Silent, incredibly precise, devastating, and widely believed to be a nation-state attack.
That silent aspect is chilling. But the fact that you often don't know for sure who did it, that seems even more destabilizing, doesn't it? If the attack is invisible, who do you even retaliate against?
That's the core problem. Attribution is exceptionally hard, which makes cyber weapons a truly asymmetric threat. They can be launched from anywhere, anytime, often leaving almost no definitive trace. So yeah, they can steal secrets, crash markets, shut down hospitals. Think about that in the middle of surgery.
Terrifying.
But maybe the most unsettling part is the low barrier to entry for causing immense damage. You don't need to be a global superpower. A single skilled hacker or a small group with the right know-how, they can cause chaos.
It just lowers the threshold for conflict dramatically.
Absolutely.
Okay, so tracing digital attacks is like finding a needle in a global haystack. What about weapons that are physical but still leave almost no trace? That brings us to things like electromagnetic pulses, EMPs. What does an EMP attack actually look like? Or maybe what doesn't it look like?
Well, an EMP isn't an explosion you'd see, not in the usual sense. It's this incredibly fast, powerful burst of electromagnetic energy. Could be from a nuclear bomb detonated way up high, or increasingly specialized non-nuclear devices designed just for this.
Right.
And this energy surge, it induces huge currents in electrical grids and sensitive electronics.
And just fries them.
Essentially, yeah, it overloads and burns out circuits. Imagine a whole city just instantly dark. Everything modern stops. Transport, communication networks, water pumps, hospitals, all crippled.
Back to a pre-digital age in seconds.
Exactly. No smoke, no rubble, just silence and darkness.
It's a really disturbing picture, the certain unseen wipeout. But how does that compare to even more subtle attacks, maybe more targeted? Things like directed energy. We've heard about Havana syndrome, for instance.
Yes, Havana syndrome. It's still highly debated, right? The exact cause, who might be responsible? Lots of investigation, not many definitive public answers.
Understandably.
But one of the leading theories, and a very worrying one, does involve directed energy. We're talking about devices, possibly microwave-based, that could covertly target specific people.
Causing those symptoms? Dizziness, nausea, Headaches.
Yes, and cognitive issues, sometimes strange sounds only the target hears. The scary thing is these weapons could potentially be small, portable, and designed specifically not to leave much evidence.
Making it incredibly hard to track, let alone prove it was an attack.
Exactly. How do you defend against something you can't even confirm exists?
Okay, so we've gone from digital to electromagnetic. What happens when we push this idea of invisibility down to the microscopic level? Weapons so small you literally can't see them. Bio and nano-attacks. How does that raise the stakes?
Well, this is where things get potentially really unsettling for the future. Think about nanoscale tech. Tiny, tiny machines engineered to deliver toxins, maybe, or disrupt biological processes inside the body with extreme precision.
And potentially undetectable by normal means.
Right. But even zooming out slightly, think about genetically engineered viruses. It's theoretically possible, though incredibly complex, to design a virus that might target specific populations, maybe based on genetic markers.
Whoa.
Some people call this fifth-generation warfare, where the weapon isn't just silent, it's potentially hyper-targeted, moving way beyond collateral damage.
Yeah, that's a truly chilling thought. Makes you look at the common cold a bit differently, maybe. I mean, an attack like that could be disguised, made to look like a natural outbreak or just random sicknesses. How would anyone know? How would we know we were under attack until it was just way too late?
That's the fundamental danger, isn't it? These kinds of attacks could completely blur the lines. What's an act of war? What's just a bad flu season? What's industrial espionage versus state-sponsored sabotage? You might not have a clue you're being targeted until the effects are already widespread. And our traditional ideas about defense, about retaliation, they just don't apply neatly anymore. It chips away at your basic certainty about the world. Is this illness natural? Is this power outage accidental?
And the really uncomfortable part is a lot of these technologies, advanced cyber tools, directed energy research, bio and nanotech, they are being researched right now. Governments, big corporations, private labs all over the world are pushing these boundaries. What does that actually mean for global security, for the existing rules of engagement?
It means we have a critical challenge, because there's almost no global agreement on how to handle these things, or even if they should be regulated in certain ways.
Right.
The ethical problem isn't just that they're hard to control, it's that they force us to ask fundamental questions. What is a war crime when there's no visible weapon, no smoking gun?
Yeah.
If you crash another country's economy using code, is that war?
Is disabling an airport with malware terrorism or just espionage?
Our existing rules, the laws of war, they were written for bombs and bullets. They weren't designed for a world where you can, potentially ruin a nation or an individual without ever leaving your chair, without them ever seeing you.
So the frameworks are just outdated.
Massively. It's leading to a sort of new Cold War, maybe, but fought entirely in the shadows.
So what can actually be done then? Is there any way to navigate this? What
Nothing.
do the experts, the sources, suggest?
Well, there are several angles. Cybersecurity folks are constantly calling for stronger defenses, obviously, more resilience, and not just for governments or big companies, but for individuals, too. Basic digital hygiene becomes a national security issue, in a way.
Makes sense.
Then you have researchers demanding more openness, more transparency about work on directed energy or advanced biotechnologies. And some leaders are trying to push for international treaties, trying to ban certain types of invisible weapons before they spiral out of control, like a new nuclear arms race, but maybe even harder to verify.
But here's the rub, isn't it? These silent weapons, cyber tools especially, they're often way cheaper to develop and use than, say, building a new aircraft carrier or a fleet of tanks.
Precisely. That cost effectiveness is key. It gives smaller nations or even non-state groups power that used to belong only to the superpowers.
Right.
Connecting that back, it makes them incredibly difficult to stop just through traditional military or economic power. The asymmetry they create it's a fundamental challenge for global security. We need innovation, not just in defense tech, but in diplomacy, in international law, how we even talk about these things.
So wrapping this up, what does it all mean for you listening right now? I guess the takeaway is the battlefield in the 21st century. It really is everywhere. Your phone, the power grid, the water supply, maybe even the air. The future of conflict, it seems, isn't about who has the biggest army anymore. It's about who can strike without being seen. or maybe without even being suspected.
And that's the ultimate danger of silent weapons, isn't it? They don't just damage buildings or hurt bodies in obvious ways. They attack something more fundamental. They attack trust, your trust in technology, your trust in your own safety, maybe even your trust in reality itself. And this erosion of trust, it's not just a feeling. It has real geopolitical fallout, states becoming paranoid, suspicious.
Yeah.
It could lead to a really unstable, unsettling new era.
So the final thought is maybe.
Yeah.
Stay alert. Stay informed. Because the next war, it might have already started, and you wouldn't even know it.